Hi everybody, I'm Chef Ben and this is Dinner with Ben, brought to you by HowToNotBurnShit.com, and today we are making one of my absolute favorites, shepherd's pie. So what makes a shepherd's pie and not a cottage pie? Stay tuned to find out. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is define what a shepherd's pie is. Now where I'm from, in Nova Scotia, a shepherd's pie is ground beef, mashed potato on top, and there's some vegetables mixed in. Everybody kind of has their own version. Traditionally, a shepherd's pie is made with lamb, and pretty much other than that, it's the exact same. Originally, it had a pie crust, or the potato would be a crust that would form the bottom and the top. Now, it's really just a mixture of meat and vegetables topped with mashed potato and then baked. Where I'm from, or I guess the recipe that I grew up with, it's ground beef, creamed corn, peas, carrots, green beans, a little bit of garlic, onion, and then topped with mashed potatoes with a lot of butter. So that's what I'm going to make today. I'm really pumped because this really is one of my favorite things. When I was a kid, this is what I would always ask for as my birthday meal, so I'm super excited. All right? Okay, so the first thing we need to do is brown our ground beef. Well, that's browning. I'll chop my onions and garlic. We'll get those in there, and then we'll have the rest of our veg and cook that down. Before I turn on the camera, I peeled my potatoes. They're already in the pot, coming up to a boil. There's probably about 3 pounds of potatoes there, maybe 4. Just enough so that we cover the dish completely by about 1/2 inch or 2 centimeters. Okay, so I'm going to get the beef in. The pan's already getting hot. Get the beef in, brown that, and then we'll have the onions and garlic. And that's about 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of ground beef. I'm making a big shepherd's pie, so I want a lot of meat. Now I'm just going to dice my onion. Take the top off. Most of you have probably seen this before, but for a good recap, I'm going to leave the root on. Peel. Doing a terrible job of peeling this onion. In the compost. I'm just going to keep your fingers flat. We're going to make a couple horizontal slices. Rotate the onion so that the root is pointing away from you. We're going to slice down just using the tip of our knife. We're not going to cut through the root. We're just going to cut just to it so that it keeps the onion together. We're going to rotate it so that the root is pointing to my left. If I was using my left hand, the root would be pointing to my right. And now we're just going to slice down. And that's the only waste, is just that root. We'll do the other piece. So this dish, like I said, I really do love it. It really is one of my favorite dishes. And this might not be the classic way to make it, but this is how I grew up eating it. And sometimes you just want something homey. You want something from your childhood. And it's really, really delicious and very simple. This is probably the first or second dish I ever learned to cook, which to me means a lot. And 3 or 4 turns of pepper. Move my onions over. Now the garlic. I'm not pureeing this garlic. I just want to slice it. For whatever reason, in shepherd's pie, I kind of like nice chunks of garlic. Not chunks, but nice slices. I like to seed the garlic. I guess that's probably just how my mom always did it. Okay, peel the garlic. So all I did was cut the root end off the garlic, and now I'm just pulling the peel off. Crush it, and the peel comes right off. And now I'm just going to slice this super thin, but I'm not going to crush it. Again, I just want to slice really, really thin. The trick here, like always, is to keep a nice, firm, high grip on the knife. Keep your fingers back, and always have the knife in contact with your hand. If the knife isn't in contact with your fingers, you don't know where it is. So if I'm cutting something, my hand's way back here, my knife's up here, I'm cutting, something distracts me, I don't know where my fingers are in relation to the blade. This way, I always know where it is. I don't even need to look at what I'm doing. Now this is a lean ground beef, so I'm not going to drain it off. If you have a medium, you might want to. If you have a full fat ground beef, you're definitely going to want to drain it off. Otherwise, you'll get kind of a really greasy shepherd's pie, which no one wants. Okay, the beef is pretty much all brown. I'm going to add the onions and the garlic into it. And then once the onions look cooked, I'll add the rest of the veg. Now, the reason why I'm adding the onions and garlic at the same time is A, because the garlic isn't pureed, it's nice slices, and B, because there's a lot of liquid in that pan right now from the ground beef. So I don't really have to worry too much about the garlic burning. It's really not going to happen. If it was just, it was a fairly dry pan right now, I wouldn't add the garlic yet. I would add that a little later. But where it's nice big chunks of garlic and there's liquid in the pan, I'm really not worried about it. So, in the garlic goes with the onions, and we'll stir. Alright, I can really start to smell the onions now, which means that they're starting to cook, which is perfect. The potatoes are boiling, and I just turned the oven on to about 450. Because everything's already cooked when it's going in the oven, really all I'm trying to do is get everything kind of bubbling, amalgamated, and get the potatoes nice and brown. So I don't have to bake this for a long time. I just really want to get that brown color on the potatoes. So that's why I'm doing it on such a high heat. Okay, the onions are starting to turn translucent. I can really smell the garlic now. So I'm going to add my peas and carrots. I'll wait to add the green beans because they're really thin. But peas and carrots are going in. And we're just going to cook those out. While that's cooking, I'm actually going to chop these green beans up. These are just frozen green beans, but they're a little longer than I want, so I'm just going to cut them a little bit smaller. What a lot of people don't realize about frozen vegetables, especially in winter, is that they're actually generally more nutritious than fresh vegetables. Well, where I live, if you live in California or somewhere where they grow fresh vegetables all year round, you're probably fine. But where I live in Canada, on the East Coast, we don't grow fresh vegetables in the winter. So the fresh vegetables we get are all imported from Mexico or South Africa or California. And so by the time they get here, they're not very nutritious. So oftentimes in the winter, it is actually more nutritionally beneficial to buy frozen vegetables than fresh, because frozen vegetables are frozen at the height of their ripeness. Just a little tip for you. Alright, let's add the green beans in. So the green beans are in there now, the peas, the carrots, the onions, the garlic, it's all in there except the cream corn. So we're just going to let that cook for a few minutes. We'll add the cream corn and put it all together. Alright, everything's pretty much cooked. I'm going to add the cream corn in there. We'll stir that around, let that heat up, and then we'll put it in our dish and wait for our potatoes to finish. Okay, I'm just going to give the mixture a quick taste and see what it needs for seasoning. It's good, just needs a pinch of salt and pepper, and then it's perfect. And I was going to put this in a separate dish, but then I thought, why dirty a separate dish when I can just bake it right in the cast iron? So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to turn this off now. I'm going to season it up. I'm just going to wait for the potatoes to finish. Okay? Okay, the potatoes are cooked. I'm just going to drain them. We'll heat up some cream and butter, or some milk and butter, and we'll get this going. Now, one of the keys to really good mashed potatoes is to let them sit in the sink and steam for a minute or two, just to kind of dry out. Potatoes absorb a lot of liquid when you boil them, and if you just mash them right away, all that liquid's going to come out and you're going to get really kind of watery, gross potatoes. So let them steam dry for a minute or two, and you'll notice the color will change. They'll become much whiter as they dry. And in the meantime, I'm just going to heat up some butter and some milk to make our mash. So we're not trying to boil the milk in the butter. We're just trying to kind of take the chill off it, melt the butter, and then we'll put the potatoes in and mash them up. All right, potatoes have steamed. You can tell the cream or the milk and butter is heated. It's seasoned with salt and pepper. I'm just going to mash these up. So we have our potatoes mashed up, but the thing about mashers like this is they don't do a great job. There's always big lumps. So what I usually do for something like this where you want a really creamy mashed potato is I pass it through a strainer after it's mashed. If you do it before it's mashed, it's really hard to do. If you have a ricer at home or a food mill, obviously pass your potatoes through that. I don't, because I don't really like spending 50 or 60 bucks on something that I'm only going to use once or twice a month. So I use a big bowl and a fine mesh strainer. And all I do is scoop my potatoes into here like this. My sink's piling up pretty good. And then you just push the potato through. And because it's already loosened up with the milk and the butter, and it's already mashed, this is really pretty easy and pretty quick. And you can see it coming out the bottom there. Okay, so we have our perfectly smooth, beautiful mashed potatoes. They're like little clouds of potato. It's perfect. And the only other thing we need to add is 1 egg. So we're just going to break that in. And we're just going to mix that in. So what the egg's going to do is when you bake this, it's going to get kind of crispy on the top, nice and browned. Without the egg, it won't really have the same color or texture. And so that's why we put it in there. We're just going to mix that in. These are beautiful. Okay, so there's our potatoes. Just going to move our filling over here. And it's important that you flatten out your filling before you put the potatoes in, just so you don't kind of get big pieces of shepherd's pie filling in your potatoes. So we're just going to do this like you would ice a cake, where you drop some down in different spots. Oh, this is going to be nice. Potato nice and flat, so that's how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to gather it around the edges. Oh, that looks nice. So I'm just putting that on a cookie sheet so that as it goes in the oven, it heats up and boils. It's not going to destroy my oven. I don't want to have to clean my oven later. So pop that in a 450-degree oven for about 20 minutes, and then we'll come back. In the meantime, I'm going to clean up the dishes, but that's it. Dinner is going to be ready. It's really simple. The measurements for everything, it's about 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds of ground beef, 1 big can of creamed corn, 1 medium-sized onion, 2 cloves of garlic, about a cup of peas, 1 or 2 medium-sized carrots, and about a cup of green beans. And then I just added a touch of water to loosen it up. And then about 3 or 4 pounds of potatoes. That's really it. It's very simple. The measurements really don't matter that much. Use whatever you have on hand. This is one of those dishes that really you just kind of throw together with whatever you have. So I will see you back here in about 20 minutes. And we'll pull the shepherd's pie out of the oven. I'm super excited. I'll see you then. Okay, so the timer just went off. All told, I put the shepherd's pie back in for about 15 more minutes. So it was about 35 minutes in total. It looks gorgeous. I'm super excited to take it to the oven and show you. And I'm really glad I put the tray under it because it was bubbling over. Ooh, guys. Oh, mama. Oh, mama. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to brush some butter on the top of this, and it's kind of going to soften up. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, so it is buttered. It is gorgeous. I'm so excited to dig into this, but I'm gonna let it sit for a few minutes. If I dig into this right now, it's gonna be it's gonna burn my face off, and I don't want to burn my face off on this. And B, you kind of want it to have some structural integrity when you cut into it. It's not going to be fully bound by any means, but you definitely want some form of structural integrity. So I'm going to let it go for a couple minutes, probably about 10 minutes before I dig into it. But I'll show you some pictures. Okay, so anyway, I want to say thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. This is super easy to make, and there's so much stuff you can do with it. You can put cheese on it. I don't know why you would. Lots of people do, but to me that's disgusting. I don't know, it's a really good basic recipe, and it's the one I grew up with. If you have any questions about it, feel free to hit me up on Instagram or Twitter at Chef Ben Kelly. Or on Facebook at Ben Kelly Cooks, or just in the comments of this video, and I will answer you as best I can. I'm sorry, I can't stop eyeing this. It looks so nice. Anyway, I will see you next week with another fantastic video brought to you by HowToNotBurnShit.com. I'm Chef Ben. I will see you later.